All right, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to your weekly TFFL webcast. It is Wednesday, November 3rd. We are in November now, 2021. Looking back at week 8, looking ahead to week 9, I have a ton of headlines I have scribbled down. We're not going to talk about the vast majority of them right now because so many of them are so important. We're going to save them for a chat when you guys can all jump in. Two quick ones I'll bring up, and then we'll get going here. We had the NFL trade deadline just passed yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so insignificant that I'm not saving that for later. Nothing happened from the fantasy perspective.
Yeah, the whole Odell Beckham thing we thought possibly might happen, and I think there wasn't anything like you said. Nothing happened.
Nothing from a fantasy standpoint. But so,
isn't there still a way that he can be moved?
Even the trade can be released, become a free agent, and then negotiate. But the Browns have to do that.
It'll happen. Yeah.
He's still under contract next year with them, so they could,
But he's not going to. The Browns wouldn't get any compensation then if they did that.
If they released him, no, and they wouldn't get any cap relief either. They'd still
addition by subtraction. Addition by subtraction. The other insignificant headline I just want to bring up, we won't talk about this later, and I don't mean to take any delight in somebody's injury, but Robert Tonyan out for the year. We talked about him last webcast.
Cost me money, Robert Tonyan.
He was ready for at least. He was ready to explode. 3 touchdowns a game. He was on deck. Did you see that? It was like 50-yard play he got hurt on, man.
Yeah.
So that bet was injury protected?
It was.
Nice.
It was.
Smart.
Wow.
Yes, we had that discussion.
Yep. So it was at over under 9.5 touchdowns, but he had to play at least 13 games or be active for at least 13 games. And he's not going to be.
Yep.
And there's no way in hell he was going to get to 10 touchdowns.
Right. How many games did he make?
He made 8, I guess.
8.
And had 2 touchdowns.
He was on his way to 2 more that night.
Oh, for sure. Easy.
All right. So quickly, panel intros, and then we're going to get moving on to trivia here, and lots of stuff to talk about tonight. Let's start, as always, with our commissioner, Lizards King and Ruler, Rich.
Hello, everyone. Real happy to be here tonight. It's back to bourbon. I think we were on beer last week, and we got the Barrel Armida. This is a first timer here on the show. Bourbon whiskey finished in pear brandy, rum, and Sicilian Amaro casks.
Ooh,
there you go.
A lot of really fancy words there.
There you go. It's a blend of sorts, and it's got a little whoo to it. Is what I would say.
Better than not having a little who.
Exactly. No, so it's all good. And Hank, we'll come up with a new bet for next year.
Okay.
Or maybe we can come up with a different one through the rest of the year.
Well, I'll be thinking. All
right, we can think about that.
All right.
In any case, real happy to be here. It's a beautiful Wednesday night. We're missing Berto tonight.
Yep.
Hope he's enjoying his vacation. Little getaway, and all's well.
Yes, Berkman, it's going to require me to find a player that you completely overvalue or overproject, and then we can find a bet.
Yeah, there's plenty to choose from.
I know.
That's the sad part. There's plenty to choose from.
Hank, our IT director, czar and CEO of the K-Wheels. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. How are we?
Good. And our special guest tonight from the Slippery Beavers, Santa Claus. Welcome.
Santa Claus.
Straight from the
North Pole. Not just we're still around. We're still around a little bit here, even though we turned 55 momentarily.
Not so much here. Here is very Santa Claus.
Yeah. And if I let it grow that far.
If any of our viewers would like one of these bright red sweatshirts, it can be all yours.
Boxes and boxes of them. I swear to God.
Bill, you want to bring the logo up close for us to see? Can you
sure.
show the logo? Yeah, we can market it a little bit.
There you
Pinnacle
go.
Pinnacle.
Wait, here we go. Let's
Pinnacle.
I gotta.
So if you need a sweatshirt or if you need acoustic solution,
Or acoustic,
Bill is
well,
your man.
acoustic solutions would be better because I have to give away the sweatshirts for free, but I can charge for the acoustic solutions.
Yes.
Do you travel?
Yeah, about 60 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. Goes into Ohio, West Virginia.
So
I've been at
Boston's a
State
little
College. Nah,
Boston's
not
a
so
little-
much, but I'll take a referral fee if I pass it on to somebody.
Oh, okay. I might need some work done on some
Hey,
on some
listen.
acoustics.
I'll even waive my fee.
Do they do IoT and wireless and connected homes? Do they do that too? Or is it
That's
just
not really
audiophile stuff. Just
part of
audiophile?
acoustic. No, that's more electronics and stuff like that. This is more industrial and gymnasiums and huge arenas and things like that. Not
It's like my office. It's like my office.
Well, I'll tell you what. You send me the dimensions. I'll get you some panels at cost. It'll be perfect for you. I
right.
guarantee you'll notice the difference.
I can't wait.
But I
making
need to know the
deals.
dimensions of the room.
All right. I know it's I just built it. It's like a football field.
Perfect. I'll fix it in no time.
Bill, what's
Yeah.
what's your favorite number? If I give you three choices, 1, 5, or 6, which one of those numbers do you like best?
Oh, definitely 5.
All right. Welcome to the TFFL trivia portion of
All right,
our
here we go.
webcast tonight. Once again, as always, thank you to Chief for supplying
Yes, sir.
question 5, answer 5.
What a great thing that's worked out to be. I mean, I've been
Yes.
watching every time.
We get Chiefs appearance.
You don't even know which one it is. He doesn't know which one it is.
All right. Chief is sure that we all know that Tom Brady is the oldest of the 84 keepers heading into the 2021 TFFL season. You probably know, if you think about it for a few minutes, that Aaron Rodgers is the second oldest. But who, he actually has the word who twice, is the third oldest? Name that third oldest TFFL 21 keeper for 2 points. If you want another 2 points, name the youngest of all of the keepers.
Wow. Oh, that is fantastic.
Let's think about that.
But that's okay. So the third oldest and the youngest.
Keepers.
Yes.
Keepers.
That's an important piece.
Correct.
And then the youngest keeper. Got it. Okay. I have until the end of the thing to figure it out.
Wait, is this all time or just 2021? I'm sorry.
Right now.
2021. 2021.
This
Right
last year keepers list.
Mm-hmm.
I if you guys wanted to look at the list of keepers, I would even allow that. I'm not going to do that because I've got a webcast here to moderate. But
All right, if that's allowed,
That's allowed. Okay, here we go.
I think that was a valid thing to do.
You should be able to sort of do that in your head.
I was starting to do it in my head, but yeah,
I started too, but
If you allow me,
I'll
I'll
be
just-
distracted for quite some time.
me too.
Now I'm going to put one cat. So
I still don't think that'll be that big an advantage.
I don't
if
either.
Everyone's looking at it.
all right. So Chief laid this out: 2 points if you get the third oldest keeper. 2 points if you get the youngest keeper. I'm going to give Chief 25 points himself if the answer to the second question is Henry Ruggs. All right, just for nailing the right question. For us to-
that's horrible because
Wow,
but
Nick, you might have just nailed it. Actually,
Was Henry Ruggs a keeper?
I
yeah,
don't, that's the next question. I don't know if he was this year. I
yeah,
might
he
have
was.
just-
Didn't
he was not. T. Higgins.
I do not see him.
No,
T.
maybe
Higgins.
the Devils didn't keep him this year. See, this is why we need to check our sheets. Never
T.
mind.
Higgins, not Henry Ruggs.
Sorry, Chief is not going to get 25 points. Okay. Hank, TFFL standings. Lots of interesting things when you stare at the standings.
sure.
After
There are.
8 weeks here.
There are. Let me see if I can do this again. I try and do this. There we go. All right. North first. North is the K Wheels, 6-2, still based on division tiebreaker with the Giant Killers. Lizards are leading their division at 5-2-1. Only a game up on the Boba Fetts, though.
Yeah.
You notice the Killers and the Ampac still right with the wheels on records, so they also hold the 2 wild card slots. Aliens 2-6, my friend. Well on your way, but not quite there. The South, How do I get that better? There we go.
There you go.
The Sponge 5-2-1 leading the way. The Beavers leading the division at 3-5. That's a truism. Hams at 4-4. Sens 2-5-1. Mongols on a 2-game winning streak now, and the Devils now take up the basement at 1-7. Playoffs at the moment look like this: Wheels and Sponge, Lizards, Beavers, and Packing Killers. That's where we are for the moment.
Why are the Sponge ahead of me?
Because they're in the South. They win the Southern Conference.
They get the conference.
Oh, got it.
Right. So you got the Wheels will win the North right now, and then
it's conferences. I got it.
But then you'd be the 3rd seed because of division record.
Yep. No, that's why I was wondering if it was record wise just on that, but I wasn't thinking.
No. It's the North and the South is 1-2.
Perfect.
So one of the best division races I can recall. 3 teams now at 6-2 in the NOCO East. All 3 teams slated to make the playoffs. Means a team like the Boba Fats right now at 4-3-1 on pace. It's kind of weird to be on pace to be 8-6-2. I don't know if they'll get a second tie in the second half of the year, but essentially, call that. Does that work out to 9 and 5? I can't do the math.
Yeah,
right
whatever.
now.
Yeah, like 9 and 8. Nah, whatever.
8-6-2, 6 losses in a 14 week season, and they would not make the playoffs. I'm doing way wrong math here, I'm sure, but nonetheless, the Fats are looking like a strong team. They are a game and a half out of a playoff spot. I mean, they are not even really close.
Yeah, but consider this, though, with the Fats and your division specifically, is that you guys have not yet played the the so-so East or whatever, the weaker of the so-so conferences. You get the Beavers, the Devils, and the Mongols to come.
Right.
Whereas the other side has to go through the Senators, Senators, Devils, and who are Hams. A little tougher.
You're going to be favored in those games nonetheless.
Sponge.
Yeah, so it was Sponge and Hams. It's maybe, but those are tougher games than I'd rather play the Mongols, the Beavers, or the Devils, frankly, and
sure.
All 3 of them. And that's who your division has left.
Of course you would, yeah. But yes, all 3 of those teams at 6-2. You're looking at tiebreakers here every week as you present the standings. Mm-hmm. Still a long way to go. I was just doing math based on a 16-week schedule instead of the 14-week schedule we've got. So yeah, you still got 6 weeks to go to sort that out. But right now, the Fats at 4-3, they are still a game and a half out. And it's not just 1 game back. That's a fair amount of territory to have to gain in the 6-week spread against 3 very good teams.
He's got to keep winning.
Yep. All right, Rich, real quick, any commissioner updates?
There could actually be some COVID action, maybe, with all the craziness going on. So reminder of the COVID, rule again.
Rogers,
use your bench first. If you don't have a bench and you need to use a COVID pick because you don't have any other option at that position. Quarterback is definitely the most likely, so I could see the Sponge ending up in that position potentially. Then you can use a COVID pick, but it has to return afterwards, as you know. So we can always resurrect that rule if it pops up, and I'll remind people. Otherwise, no, there's not much to report. Good week for the Lizards.
If I may interject one thing, just to further declarative on the Thursday FA pick. And we've done this a couple times, and it's still worthy of making sure the message is out. You cannot drop or trade somebody who was in the starting lineup for a Thursday night game. That's the most declarative part of the whole thing. Everything after that is, anybody on your
roster. Say that again. I don't think I understand that. Say that again.
You cannot trade or drop a player who started on your Thursday night roster.
Got it. Correct.
Until after Monday Night Football.
after they played. You can't drop them for a free agent.
But wait a minute. I think I just want to make sure I'm clear on this because that is a little squishy in one way. So Stick made a trade as an example to this, right?
Yep.
We didn't transact the trade until all the players and points were taken, but I don't look at that as any different as Zach Ertz walking off the field and being traded when he's in weekend of games. But he got traded by to the Cardinals right after the game.
What the matter is that when he was released, he adds a spot on the roster for somebody else. When he is you think of the week as a one unit from Thursday to Monday.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. No, you can't add a player unless you traded for a player.
No, and in fact, we kept Ernest Johnson in the Aliens lineup through the end of that weekend.
Correct, and I appreciate that you did work that out. But you can't. There can't be a half. Oh well, there's a trade on Saturday, and then on Monday there's a trade where something else that goes in one way or the other way.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, let's keep
I'm only trying to make sure everybody knows. I'm not putting any declarative statement.
I think that's fair. I think that's good. I just make sure.
There
was no problem with
the fact Stick made the trade.
Is that what you're saying? You're saying there's no problem that Stick and Kramer made the trade as long as no changes were made on the site or anything until after the week was over as one unit.
Correct.
And we are
just
good.
Consider Thursday to Monday as one unit. And no player can be involved in two rosters during that.
Correct.
Yes. Fact. Got it. That's a good way to sum it up.
Now, the other shady thing that the Aliens recently did with the free agent process that was perfectly legal that we should clarify.
Shady but legal.
is on the Thursday night free agent run recently, the Mongols released Zach Wilson. He was not released the previous week. He was released during week.
Right.
2 days later, the Aliens picked him up in the Saturday free agent.
No problem with that, whatever. He was available to everybody. Anybody could have done that.
That is,
Just clarifying. Yep.
I mean, unless we stick the FBI on Terry and do some waterboarding and find out whether he did that or whoever did it. I mean, it's just
It's the Bill's point. As long as he couldn't score points or not score points on two teams, then
that's right.
Who cares?
Exactly.
That's the motivating factor.
Yep.
Yes.
Treat it as one unit. Player can only play for one team per unit.
Per unit.
All right. Clear. Good. I got lots of things for us to talk about. I do not necessarily have questions. There's just lots of big news for us to talk about. You can chime in and weigh in as you would like, or Hank may choose to ignore at least one of the topics we bring up. React how you want. But let's start with our guest. We had Terry on last week. We got Thornburg on this week, both representing the SoCo East.
As best we can.
Fascinating division in its own right. None of those teams are anywhere near 6-2, unlike Hank's division where they're all 6-2. In fact, let me just go look at the standings here real quick. Collectively, the three teams in your division, Bill, have 6 wins.
Yeah.
And
I'll take proper credit for what?
For half of them.
3 of them, yeah.
Bill's got half of them.
And I'm up also a half game on the other guys, so they're
but
against them.
I don't mean to be mean, but you probably watched the webcast last week, and I made clear to Terry that I don't think the Beavers are a particularly strong team. Nonetheless, Terry seemed to be sticking to his guns that the Mongols were done this year. It was time to start planning for 2022. And lo and behold, Beavers lose, Mongols win. We now have a division again where collectively there are 6 wins. It really is up for grabs. Even the Devils at 1-7 probably could squint hard enough to make a case that they could go after this. But the Mongols on a 2-game winning streak now, with the best quarterback in the division in Josh Allen. Bill, I think if you had the same exact team you have now, and the Mongols or the Devils had 5 wins instead of 2 wins and 1 win, I wonder if you'd be packing it in already.
Well, you can only do it so many times. You have to, at some point, stick with your guns, as I've been trying to instruct you as a professional strategic loser. The fact is, I mean, we were the worst team in the league last year. So for us to be in front in this division is fantastic. I'm happy to be in first. And guess what? All I have to do is keep winning one more game more than the two other worst teams in the
Beat them when you play them.
Of course you're happy. Are you confident?
Oh, no way. No. I mean, I finally get my 3 running backs back this weekend. But
I'm not so sure McCaffrey's going to be back.
McCaffrey's iffy.
I'm not so sure McCaffrey's back.
No.
Well, even not. I still have. All right. Well, I can still start the Ravens starting running back, so I'm okay with that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not. Of course, I'm not confident. Why would I be confident? I mean, I'm shuffling in and out quarterbacks. I have a really weak wide receiver core, which is my fault for not totally. I mean, I had to go to what would fill a roster at some point with tight ends and extra running backs, and so yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm ecstatic to be in the league. I'm pleased to be in front in my division, but I don't have any confidence in it. No.
And so thank you. With that much confidence, how much are you looking around to invest in this team?
Not much.
Okay.
Nothing. I believe it was it might have been Phil or somebody about 2 videos ago said Thorny has patience, and that's what it's all about. So you're not going to see Travis Etienne going anywhere. You're not going to see our extra second round pick from the. So I have an extra second from somebody next year. Anyway, so I mean, we build for the long term. That's the way the Steelers do things too.
So, big picture, long term. Take your time.
Yep. All right. So before we leave this division, there is one thing we should not let pass from Week 8. Hank, you were the one who called this to my attention. The Dirt Devils, I believe, and we'll talk more about the Dirt Devils' bigger picture issues in a second. But Calvin Ridley, correct me if I'm wrong, was in their starting lineup in Week 8.
Taking the Ben Simmons route.
Maybe a little different. But nonetheless, I think if you were paying attention on Sunday morning, you knew Calvin Ridley was not playing.
Was not playing.
Now, yeah. Nick may very well have been in church. I'm not going to suggest there's anything wrong with that. But
poor move on Nick's part. They got to get you. That was all over. It was not a sneaky thing. Yeah. So
he missed it. He just missed it.
Missed it. Yeah. So that's too
bad.
I
don't think there's any intent on that.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Nick is a team is in need of wins, but is yet we say that he's 1-7. He's 2 games out of the division and a playoff spot. And
that's crazy.
Make your lineup whole at least.
Yeah. I guess there's something to be said about you guys, one division being at 6-2, one being at like 2-6 and 2-7.
The teams in that division are 1-7, 2-6, and 3-5.
And guess who's in front?
Their entire division has as many wins as any one of the teams in my division.
I still go to the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I know. That's how the league is set up. So, hey,
I hate that.
We're going to play everybody at some point.
We're going to address it in the offseason. I promise you.
No, I don't know what there is to address.
It happens.
We won't change anything. We're too. Yeah. Anyway,
the NFC.
We have a process for that, gentlemen.
We can talk about it. Fine. I would remind you the Redskins just won the NFC East last year with
7-9.
You mean the Washington football team?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't break myself. Me of all people.
Yeah,
I cannot break. Well, yeah, I've lived.
And the Braves just won the World Series.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
All right. So moving on to the other Southern Conference division, piece of news this week: Senators, the latest TFFL team in 2021 to at least claim they're dropping out, The Devils and the Mongols may be jumping back in here. But the Senators now, let's get this right, 2-5-1. Of course, they've been getting a ton of points scored on them all season long. But I think it was Berto last week, kind of subtly pointed it out, and it's true. We can talk about the points being scored on these guys as much as we want. But the Senators had a chance to right the ship the last 2 weeks, playing the Mongols here in week 8, playing the Beavers before that in week 7. Phil, you just talked about how that's a division people should be cleaning up on. Senators have lost both of those games to the Mongols and the Beavers by scoring 34 points last week in week 8, 55 points in week 7. We can blame the 128 points from the Sponge and the 97 from the Aliens and the 101 from the Lizards. But the Senators had a chance to get back in this, have a winning record at this point, and they've blown it the last 2 weeks.
2 quick comments. First is I think since we made the comment that the Senators were really an under the radar team because they've been scoring so many points, since that comment has been made, I'm pretty sure they haven't scored points at all and now are gone the other way. The other thing is I think the Mongols might be 2-0 since their appearance on the webcast.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
So
Good call.
Yeah. So one way or the other. I mean, we talk about the negative and then bring Terry on and the positive. So Thornberg, maybe this is
No, not this week. Not this.
Yes,
week.
definitely. I got a big feeling about Tua this weekend.
All right, let's see it.
And I got my running backs back.
Tua actually has a pretty decent matchup against Houston. We can get into that later. But anyway, yeah. I don't want Bill to do well this week.
As long as somebody else brought it up, not me.
Next week.
One of the byproducts, obviously, of another team essentially bowing out of the 2021 playoff race is potentially, if you keep the Mongols and the Devils in this pool, we've got 4 teams now with Aliens, Senators, Devils, Mongols, with some pretty bad records at this point.
Don't forget an extra game season.
Yep, we got a long season still ahead, but
I can bring up that chart if you guys want to see that. Of how that's distributed. The extra game.
Oh, the extra. No, that will confuse people. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that.
It's the Matrix. So let's just take a quick look at our race for the number 1. Hank, why don't you bring the standings back up? Actually.
Yep.
Where
we go? The race with number 1 pick.
The number 1 pick. Yeah.
All right. So the Aliens are 2-6, but we got the Devils at 1-7, and the Mongols at 2-6.
Yeah.
So the Aliens have not yet played the Mongols or the Devils, have they?
I don't believe I have.
No, because you're about to play when do you play the Beavers?
I will tell you all these.
You're playing one of them this weekend.
He's playing the Mongols this weekend.
Yep.
Right.
Terry's very happy about that.
So I've got the Mongols in week 9, Devils in week 13. Yep.
These are critical games that that are going to determine the bottom of the order. Because if look, the other teams right now that are below the Mendoza line are, we got the Mongols, the Devils, the Senators we just talked about, the Fats and the Aliens, and then right now the Hams.
The Hams at 4-4.
But the Hams are still competitive, and they're not going to go anywhere.
So the Devils, by virtue of the Mongols and their 2-game winning streak, the Devils are now in the top spot or the bottom spot, however you want to look at it, number 1 overall pick. And with the Senators sliding back, we suddenly have a fair, 3 teams with 2 wins each, right behind the Devils. This will be another interesting race with some implications, obviously. So.
Well, the Devils just lost. They have Calvin Ridley, who hasn't been playing right now, and then Henry Ruggs gone.
So let's segue to that then. We had 2 TFFL franchises receiver cores blow up this week. The Lizards had kind of already blown up, but we'll come back to that. The Devils, in tragic and spectacular fashion, 1 player out with mental health issues. The other out after killing somebody driving 156 miles an hour down a Las Vegas street at 3:30 in the morning with twice the legal limit in his system.
Clearly, the players on the
nothing
Devils are
good
just
happens.
made with the what's gone wrong with the Devils. I mean, clearly this is the mental challenges for one of the Dirt Devils players. You know, there's a lot to deal with when they don't have a good manager that, you know, is not focused on getting that team to be a winning team. Right?
And
this is part of the issue. So they're revolting. One
Get
went
on,
on a
Nick.
spree, and then the other one, you know, has just said, I got to step away from being on the Devils here right now.
Sir, the peasants are revolting. Of course,
Henry
This-
Ruggs
smell
is
like
an
shit.
idiot. I want to be clear as can be. Henry Ruggs is a moron.
Oh,
And
this-
Henry Ruggs
The
Yeah,
fact is the
is a
NFL,
scumbag. That dude is
Hey,
a complete scumbag.
they pay for people to be available to give any NFL player a ride whenever, wherever. That's part of being in the league.
it's
Who
ride
the hell is
insurance.
driving at all?
Literally
less-
ride insurance.
What an idiot. So goodbye.
and
Adios.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's really
This-
important.
yeah.
This
This week, I mean, just go look at the Devils roster with me real quick. I mean, it was like day by day. You know, you learned about Ridley Sunday morning, Jameis Winston, for what it's worth, the backup quarterback who was in the lineup in Week 8, gone for the year with his ACL injury. Then you learn about James Robinson. I don't know the latest on him. I don't think it's as bad as perhaps we once thought. But I think he's out for at least, I think Week 9, if not a couple more. And then you get the Ruggs news. Just a terrible week. The Devil, they just so many red crosses up and down their lineup here.
Mhm.
And again, they are in the driver's seat for the number 1 overall pick right now.
Yeah, one bit of good news. He might be able to activate Hasty from whenever I put him on IR. Let's look at that. That might help him out.
Well, and Nick is in the unfortunate position that that a lot of the guys that he may look at as fodder to trade are not healthy enough to
Right.
trade.
Right.
You know, like you look at even like Elijah Mitchell, and it's like,
in a perfect
Right.
world, he'd be like, "Hey, come on, take him." But he
Yep.
just
Yeah.
no one's going to take a risk for
No
the
way.
price that it would require.
Jamal Williams is a little banged up right now. Didn't play last week. Yeah. Now Hank had made the point. Maybe this was just on email to me and Nick that Nick, who had kind of built this really strong young receiving core with Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Ruggs, suddenly blown up in the span of a week. The good news on that front, obviously, Stephon Diggs is still around. But Kadarius Toney has kind of emerged. I'm not sold on Toney quite yet, but a lot of people seem to think, based on the one big blow up game he had, his first round pedigree, that Toney may be the next number 1 wide receiver for the Giants. So Nick may be able to go forward with Diggs and Toney, at least 2 good young receivers. So that's the Devils' receiving core blowing up. It's worth talking about. The Lizards' wide receiver core blew up again this week. No, it's not going to shake the Lizards because he wasn't getting anything out of these guys anyway. But
it still shakes them.
So let's
still, no. The part that pisses you off is Michael
Yes.
Thomas was just freaking. There's other issues. I think he has Odell Beckham like issues with the Saints that go well beyond the injured knee, ankle surgery, whatever. There's something else going on there. And that pisses me off because he's just a friggin' amazing talent that is just a season gone by. And who knows what it'll be when he gets back. But, it is what it is. It just sucks. And then Odell Beckham, yeah, I've gotten nothing out of the guy all year. Another wasted roster spot. But what are you going to do? You make mistakes. You got to think about it for a sec. 3 guys on my team, high picks, high keepers, yet I'm still in first place in my division.
And you
had
had
the same thing about the Beavers.
And you had such a terrible draft, Rich.
Well, that's what I mean with Sermon going first. I mean, it's just a complete waste of a first-round draft pick. I should have Jamar Chase on my team and be rocking it. And I will. Yeah, yeah, I'm angry. Nonetheless, we press on. We figure it out. You got to go with the guys. You got to go with the guys you got, what you got to work with, and keep going from there. Right? Hank knows this. We had a tough matchup this week.
That's right.
I was happy to get the win. And Hank, while we're here, and we can put my team aside now, unless others would like to comment. I welcome the comments. Who knows? The best thing that could happen, Odell Beckham somehow gets released and then signed by some other team, and he rocks it out the rest of the year. That would be a dream.
All right, I've got a lightning round question for Rich only, and then I've got a lightning round question for Thorny and Hank only. Rich, if you knew, I mean, this is looking back in time, but if you knew Michael Thomas wasn't going to play a single game this year, would you have kept him?
I thought about that actually right away, and I think the answer would still be yes. I think I still would have kept him, or I would have tried to trade him for somebody who wanted to keep him, and try to get something more out of it that's useful. And I might still do that if somebody's interested from that perspective. Nonetheless, I would have kept him.
Hank and Bill, do you believe what Rich said a minute ago about Odell Beckham? If Odell Beckham gets released and picked up, does he have any chance of getting close to the form he used to have?
No.
Beckham is I don't know that he'll ever be what he was. He hasn't played in however long, and he seems totally unmotivated. And I think he's we'll see. Maybe he'll be returned to form, but I don't think so.
He's a diva without the good parts of being a diva.
Yeah.
The objective observer, I guess, Rich, would be a lot of the fantasy draft analysts out there. And I remember heading into this season reading a lot of people saying Beckham is, the number 40 fantasy receiver. Don't let his name fool you into drafting him higher. I'm not convinced he's an elite guy anymore.
Yeah, I think that's like I said earlier to Hank, overvalued players on my team. There's plenty to choose from. There you go. He's one. He's one that's right there. I've been waiting for him to come back to his promise. I don't deny it. He sits on my bench. I look at him every week. He's on. Yeah. It's painful.
Sorry. Nonetheless,
it's fool's gold, is what it is.
But I think I told you, you're not alone. We all would have kept him if we had him. You can't feel that bad. He's a talent, and that's what we're all trying to acquire. The problem with his talent is he's also a freaking head case, and he doesn't have his shit together.
Yeah, I mean, the part that always gets you right when you're thinking about something like that is the part where you say, I'm going to let him go and he's going to explode. Right?
Believe me, I know. Yeah.
Don't trade with the killers. Don't trade with the killers.
Right? Never trade with the killers ever.
And of course, it's possible that people can, re-explode. In Beckham's case, this would be like 5 years after he last had a really strong season. It's not like it was just a year or two ago. Now it was 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I have to remind myself of this all the time. There are very, very few, and they are Hall of Fame players, very few players who dominate, who are, definite fantasy keepers for, any more than a stretch of 2 or 3 years in a row. And I'm going to use this as a segue into Derrick Henry. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to bring it up, Hank. It's big news. And it's something a lot of people have been, writing and talking about. Is we knew, here's a guy who's had a monster workload for, this is now the 3rd straight year. Mm-hmm. And somebody noted this week, I thought it was really interesting. Henry was on track to lead the NFL in rushing for his 3rd straight season.
Yep.
The last person to do that, anybody want to take a guess?
Adrian Peterson.
Jim Brown.
In between those two, Walter Payton.
Okay.
30 year, mid 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll bet also that he probably only had 10 catches out of the backfield, maybe 20. I mean, we now have touches and combined yards. So imagine what his numbers would have been, Peyton,
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean it's automatic that you get that kind of workload. you're going to go down in year 3. Guys just they don't go, for 5-6 years. It just doesn't happen in the NFL where you're at the top of. And so Odell Beckham, no, he's not coming back. He's had his run. He was great for 2 years.
Well, interestingly, but the Titans then signed Methuselah himself, Adrian.
Yeah,
and
look, Adrian Peterson was, and Rich knows because he had him. The first 3 or 4 years of his career was everything you hope for a football player.
Dominated.
Everything. Dominant.
Everything.
And after that, I mean, again, I think he blew out his knee, I think is when it really happened, right? He didn't quite, he had a chunk in Arizona, had a chunk in the Jet.
This is more than 3 or 4 years. This is like
Adrian Peterson was a generational running back.
He was, and he's had he's playing his 12th or 15th season.
No, but I'm saying he didn't blow his knee out until later.
I believe
7 or 8 years.
I believe he ran.
He came back and was at 90% of his game.
I believe he had his 2,000-yard season after the knee injury.
I agree.
I think he did. No, Adrian Peterson's the outlier.
Here's Adrian Peterson. What he suffered from more than anything else was crap coaches. The guy if he was in the right system with the right coach, he would have freaking lit it up. The Vikings had the fucking biggest piss poor coach under the sun.
He did light it up
those years. Despite him, he would have blown it out even more under the right. Like if he had been in Denver with Shanahan, forget about it. If he would have, seriously, he would have. Anyway.
Dude, you're complaining about a 10-year-old season for a guy who broke the NFL rushing record. Shut up.
I'm talking about consecutive years after that.
Adrian Peterson, as we
stated, is a
freak. He's a freak.
Oh, no, he is a freak. Yeah, he's the most unbelievable back.
He is. Derrick Henry is also a freak. It is unfortunate, as we discussed on this webcast over the last several weeks. It's awesome to have Derrick Henry because he's the entire offense for that team, or they run everything off of that, and that sucks. And he's out. And
2007 to 2016 with just Minnesota, 1,300 yards, 1,700 yards, 1,300 yards, 1,300 yards, 970 yards, 2,000 yards, 1,300 yards, 75 yards, 1,500 yards. And then he moved on, and he had a second injury, I think. But then 1,000 yards with Washington.
It wasn't a second injury. It was a suspension.
Yeah, he was suspended.
Oh, right.
That's right. He was suspended.
Yeah. So basically, you talk from 2007 to 2013, the most dominant back on the league.
All right, so let's come back to Derrick Henry, and I don't mean to
we got sidetracked.
Make Hank dwell on this. I wish Berto were here because we've already had a little bit of a text conversation, the three of us, about it. You've been scanning the running back lists across the league. You clearly have not panicked and done something right away. What kind of strategy are you taking right now in terms of filling what is an unfillable hole in your lineup right now?
At the moment, I have come to the conclusion that there is not a good trade to be made, period. That there are fringe guys out there that will be totally overvalued, that are probably worth, a fifth or a fourth round flyer, maybe as an upside, that people want to value at a first or a second round pick. I'm not interested in that. I mean, there's nobody who's a stud who's ready to be moved, because the teams that you mentioned, the four at the top, don't have players that they're ready to move that are, building blocks. They're not going to move, the guys that are going to be difference makers. And I guess to this week, the K-Wheels, who have, arguably, at least roster-wise, have got a pretty good running back stable, we will be rolling with Chuba Hubbard and Devontae Booker as my best options to start this weekend in fantasy football. And I understand Thornburg is really excited about McCaffrey coming back, but that hasn't been announced yet, and we'll see. So I have Hubbard and Booker as my best options to start at running back because Gibson has a bye. Henry's out for the year. Barkley is now got COVID. Freaking Saquon Barkley is pissing me off to no end. And whatever. So my running backs this week are awesome.
You said Saquon was pissing you off?
Yes. Saquon. I mean, you look at that and you're like, awesome. I got Adrian Peterson. No, I don't. I got something that he plays like 3 games, and doesn't do very much and gets hurt and he's out for 5 games. Oh, wait, right. No, 6 now because he got COVID. Oh, wait, then they got a bye. So let's just sit out till week 11. It's like, all right, you just took 8 or 9 weeks of the season and didn't play.
Yeah.
So you're lamenting your keepers, but yeah, I mean, Saquon's supposed to be one of the best players in the league, and he's not playing.
I know. Yeah, that's painful.
And didn't last year either, and it just sucks. Not great. That was offset. Derrick Henry going nuts, but Derrick Henry's now out. Antonio Gibson apparently is just one cut away from his shin falling apart. So it's frustrating.
Chuba Hubbard. So it's Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard.
What I see here, it says Matt Rule says I would probably say it was pretty limited, not a ton of plays. Just trying to begin the process of working him back. We'll see how he looks Thursday in terms of the weekend and availability.
Yep.
That's the quote.
I think McCaffrey will definitely come in and get a little bit of carries, but I still think Chuba is going to get plenty that it won't be terrible. So,
yeah. And that's the bright side to this and the compliment to what you've done to build this roster. If you could manage to just blank out the fact that Derrick Henry ever existed and practice a little bit of patience going forward here,
patience again. That's strategic word, patience.
Hope, Saquon Barkley hopefully does come back and return to close to top form. You drafted Kyle Pitts, who is, looking great right now.
Maybe.
Antonio Gibson may be one cut away from an injury, but he's also playing and, is a viable starting running back.
Yep.
Chuba Hubbard is playing and getting touches for Carolina.
Yep.
If Barkley doesn't come back,
Booker.
You've got Booker. You've actually got forget Henry. You've got a pretty deep running back core. You don't need to go out and make a move right away.
Well, that's what I mean. And so, if you go really look at who could you get, it's a handful of guys. Let's look at Khalil Herbert as a guy that I'm sure you could go trade for.
And you'd have to overpay for him.
Is he going to improve your team?
That's not. Is that a better start than Chuba Hubbard? Maybe next week it is, but this week is it? I don't know if it is this week.
I believe 6 videos ago you said the overemphasis on draft picks, how much they cost, or maybe it was Chief or something like that. People hold on to those with that, but that's the only thing you could give up in order to get something like that. So, we're left with the extreme importance of the draft and being lucky.
Yeah, and then having some talent pan out for you, no
Stay
question,
healthy.
or having a situation pan out like Chuba Hubbard. The only reason he's playing is because McCaffrey got hurt, so that's fortunate. Having Devontae Booker is just good draft planning on my part because Saquon always gets hurt. Makes sense. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Our league has a tendency to make drafting very important and moving players very difficult to do. Because we all love our guys, but also because we really overvalue them. And I want 2 firsts for that, dude. No, so then these guys don't move. So there's no discussion to be had.
You really need to get Matt Ryan right now.
Matt Ryan is worth like a 5th for an 8th swap. Maybe
I realize that now.
Deal. Somebody should
sell
take
it right
deal.
now. 5-8 swap done. But. Yeah, but for the running backs, if you go look at it, look at the Senators, and who their best running back is on the Senators. I don't even know who it is off the top of my head, but they're not going to trade him. Alvin Kamara is probably not gettable, and if he was, it's going to cost Derrick Henry and my next 2 firsts
and your firstborn.
Yes, and my first child. And it's like, you know what, Alvin Kamara is not as good as Henry when he's healthy, and 2 other first-round picks is way too expensive.
Well,
But
and
then I
Ingram
understand.
just came to join him too, so he's going to take some of his
Right.
luster.
And and like we said, running backs only dominate for 2, 3, 5 years on the outside. Kamara's on the wane of that career. So who knows? Maybe he's got 5 more years ahead of him. Who knows?
Right. I would not. Well, I shouldn't say that. Kamara is a great player, but but the quarterback situation there is going to impact his value for sure.
Yep. But that's what I mean. Is like if you start digging into it and say, "Wow, I really need to replace Derrick Henry. I got to go get a big player." I mean, I could go offer Thornburg my entire draft picks for all of next year, and he's not trading me.
The best you could get would be 40% of Derrick Henry. The best you could get.
Right. You're not going to. Derrick Henry was not just the #1 running back in fantasy. He was head and shoulders above everybody else. You're not going to replace him.
I can't. And it can't even come close.
You could have, I mean, Adrian Peterson in his prime would have been an equal at this point, not Dom. I mean, that's just it. I mean, this Adrian Peterson coming in, I expect 50 yards and a cup and goal line touches, right? That's
what get some touchdowns. I mean, Tennessee still is built to run the football.
Exactly.
And they will.
He's playing. I saw pictures of him today.
Yeah.
See what happens. Hank, bottom line, I felt terrible for you. I mean, we didn't know during the game while we were playing, we had no idea that was happening. I thought he just had 60 yards in a bad game. But it was
quite a week. Back in.
Hey, Bill, give it a sec.
Yeah.
So, Hank, you had a rough week. I just want to acknowledge, right? We feel for you. The Vikings lost. You lost in the loser pool. You lost to Berkman. You in the Lizards. You lost Derrick Henry. It was a rough week.
It was a rough week. And I've been angrier. Let's be candid. I've come onto this webcast in a much more angry. I'm almost resigned at this point. It's like, are the K-Wheels cursed? Are we just, I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how stacked my team was and how good we're coming off 100 and whatever points I scored.
They were.
Looks great, right? Looks great. Shape. Stupid freaking game that I spend way too much time caring about.
You still got a lot of talent, but let's all recognize it takes some skill, some wheeling and dealing, nimbleness, and a lot of luck.
A lot of luck.
That's just how this rolls. Yep. And I wish you better luck going forward.
Thank you. I feel as though the planning that I have put in over the last 3 years to suck as bad as I have, to build the draft picks, to get the right players. We talked about using the draft. I feel like I've made a lot of those right moves, and it's still not enough. And that
don't premature. Hey, you're still
long season.
You are still in first place.
Long season.
For one sec, just think for the moment. You were just telling the Beavers and the Mongols and others that you're 2 and whatever. All you got to do is get in the playoffs, and it's a whole new ball game.
100%.
Look, we watched the Mongols pull off the awesomeness last year. It was Kramer's title to lose last year, right?
It was.
The Mongols came through. See you bye, right?
Yep.
It's all So
it's all in front of us.
Down. Just focus on getting in the playoffs.
Beavers get healthy, and suddenly,
who knows?
All right,
that's right. Now, stay positive. We're in good shape right now. Keep rolling forward. I hear it. Just sucks when your best player is done. So
that does suck.
No, and I think everybody in the league felt it because Derrick Henry is a unique player, a fun player to watch, who was doing things, in terms of winning rushing titles 3 straight years we just hadn't seen in 30 years. All right, let's move on to another. I don't know if this is a sad topic, but big news: Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah, COVID.
Out this week with COVID, unvaccinated. So here's the thing I think maybe everybody hasn't quite looked at yet. He's not just out this week. He is, I think, likely to be out next week, given the timetable he's got to be on. And he still has a bye coming up. So I think if I looked at this right, 3 out of the next 5 weeks, the Sponge Fishermen, who otherwise look like a very strong team, but 3 out of the next 5 weeks, they will be without Aaron Rodgers. And if these next 2 weeks they're without Aaron Rodgers, that's probably going to ding the value of Devontae Adams and maybe Aaron Jones as well. So you look at the Sponge Fisherman team, which we talked about last week. They're very strong, but we've hinted at this before. We'll keep talking about it. They do lean on 3 strong players from Green Bay, and I think over the next 5 weeks, the Hams, sitting there at 4-4 right now, have a chance at least. Patrick Mahomes, another story we talked about last week, who had another dud of a week in Week 8. But if Patrick Mahomes gets going again, I think there's a chance here that the Sponge are going to be vulnerable over the next 5 weeks.
Quickly, I want to make sure everybody knows Aaron Rodgers lied about his vaccination status. Let's be very clear. He said, yes, I have been immunized. And he used it as a synonym to vaccinated. And he starts the whole thing with yes, when the question was, have you been vaccinated?
Interesting.
And so you listen to the clip all you want. He lied. And that guy
he went even further to say something about others.
And everybody should do it, and and then advocated. And I've always hated that guy, and now I even hate him more.
I hate him. I hate
that
him.
guy is.
Totally hate him.
Well,
I loved him as the Jeopardy host. I thought he was a great Jeopardy host, and I thought he could have absolutely. But what are you doing? This is stupid.
I allowed him to be
the whole off-season bullshit that he put us all through was predicated on the fact that the team isn't doing enough
to support me,
and he is now jeopardizing the team.
Oh, he did. Yeah, 100%.
He jeopardized.
He is a Class A jackass. Guy is an egotistical jackass. End of story.
That's all I got to say about that. Move on.
All right. We are like right on track to wrap up at an hour here. Let's get our TFFL trivia question answered.
Okay.
I love it.
I guess I better come up with a guess here.
Did you have your guesses?
Good. I got my guesses.
I got my guesses, but I don't want to show them until Sticks got his written down.
Me neither.
I should have. No, go ahead. I'll take my 0 on this one. What do you guys?
No, don't take a 0.
Justin Jefferson.
I think Kelsey was a good guess. I almost guessed Kelsey.
Jefferson's a possibility. We'll see.
Oh, you got Jefferson too.
Yeah, I got Jefferson and Russell Wilson. Who do you got? Fournette and CEH? Oh, Beckham.
Oh, Beckham. And
Beckham's
it's not Beckham.
I don't think Russell Wilson's old enough.
But CEH might be the youngest.
I couldn't think of who would be.
I remember him. He was like young when he came out.
I thought Kelsey would be.
Kelsey's a good guess.
Came to me. The first one that came to me was Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Russell Wilson is correct.
Yes.
Russ. So I guess we all should have.
He was over 30. Damn it.
We all should have probably been leaning toward quarterbacks. Obviously, the first 2 guys on the
only people who last past
longer.
28, other than left tackles.
I thought that was part of John's trick, that it wasn't going to be a quarterback.
Well, the trick here is that Russell Wilson is nowhere near in age to Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, no,
right?
Like a decade.
How old is he?
Literally
How old
a decade.
is he?
He's like 36.
No, Russell will turn. He'll turn 33 on November 29th.
Wait.
Wow.
Wait. That's not right. That's not right then. Look, how old is Kelsey? Isn't he like 33?
Let me just read Chief's answer, and
all right,
maybe it'll clear it.
You fight that out with Chief.
Russell will turn 33 on November 29th, about 10 weeks before Julio Jones.
Oh.
Now, maybe Travis Kelce's in there as well. We'll have to go take a look.
No, Kelsey's younger than them.
This is also a point in time for when he wrote the question. Right?
Oh, what? Wait, what?
No, that doesn't matter.
This was based
Oh, yeah,
on.
you're right. It doesn't matter. With youngest
No.
Hold on. Let me finish reading Chief's answer here, because he
Travis
points out.
Kelce's only 32. Don't worry, Rich.
He got younger
okay.
because the question lasted for 5 minutes.
Oh, Kelsey was like 34.
No,
So
32.
let me carry on here. Russell turns 33 on November 29th, about 10 weeks before Julio Jones, and about 15 and a half years later than me, Chief says. The youngest player, here's the second half of the trivia answer. The youngest player is Jerry Jeudy.
Born.
You ready for when? He was born April 24th, 1999. 2 weeks after Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
We're getting close to having our first
CH is close.
21st century keeper.
Yeah.
We're getting very close.
Bill, I don't know if you heard that. 2 weeks after Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So
yeah, I know. So I was the closest. I didn't have it.
Yeah, you were. You were pretty close.
And
can we put an asterisk by the guest thing for
Hold on, I've got Justin Jefferson's name is going to come up here in a second. Hold on.
Oh, really?
CeeDee Lamb was just a couple weeks after Jerry Jeudy as well.
He was on my thought process, CeeDee Lamb.
And good Lord, Chief must have had a fun afternoon. DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, and Jonathan Taylor were all born within 5 days of each other in January 1999.
Wow.
I love the best part of
this. Had a very productive afternoon putting this shit together because I'm serious.
I'm excited that both of my
that level of research and analysis that he has completed.
Well done, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
All right, so did anybody score?
Stick.
I had Russell Wilson.
All due respect, Stick. You come up with some great questions. These are friggin' magical.
Oh, yeah. Chief's been doing great.
Oh,
Chief's been wanting to do this for a while.
So 2 points each for Hank and Rich?
Why?
Did you get Russell Wilson or was it just Hank?
No, I guess Kelsey. That's what we were talking about.
Okay.
Can we give the guest a half point for being the closest to?
No.
Wait, the guest never gets any points.
The guests have 0 points this year. I'm inclined to
half point. It's all I'm asking.
All right,
I think you really have to earn it.
I think we're gonna have to ask
Jefferson was
the second closest guy.
I think you gotta ask Chief. You gotta
no way,
Chief. It's not up to us. You gotta lobby with Chief. I say no.
All right.
It's black and white, on and off. There's no.
I'm going to keep us moving forward here.
I'm begging you. I'm throwing myself at the leagues.
Bill, like I said, if there were already points on the board for the guest, I'd give you another half point.
I understand.
Yeah.
I muted Thornburg. There we go. I have this power. I didn't know I had this power. I have the power to mute Thornburg.
Now you can invite him every week. You can invite Thornburg every week. We have the power to mute.
There you go. Sorry about that, Thornburg. I just realized I have the power to shut you up.
I'll mute myself from now on.
That's funny.
Rich, walk us through the TFFL schedule for this week.
You got it, buddy. You got it. All right. So on deck, we have, as we discussed here, we're going to have the Beavers and the Lizards going face to face this week. I'm looking forward to the matchup. We always have a good weekend of texting and whatnot, and I think it looks. Look, I think it's a good matchup.
It's a great matchup. A lot of fun.
But
you're going to have.
I don't sleep on anybody.
Monday night.
I don't sleep on anybody. Yeah. What's Monday night?
I got 3 guys.
Oh, geez. Do I got anybody who's playing Monday night?
No.
Oh yeah, I got Deontay Johnson.
Oh, right, okay.
Cool. Who knows? We can make some trades before that happens too. Then we got the Fats and the Devils. That's pretty much a guarantee, Bill, that I got to win. Otherwise, Fats is crawling up my ass right now, and that's going to be trouble. So then we got the K-Wheels up against the Senators. Sen slightly favored right now. Could the pro tempore get his 3rd win over a struggling and damaged and limping K-Wheel team at the moment? He's got to start Wentz this week due to Brady being on a bye, so that's also added challenge. But hopefully you get some good stuff out of Wentz there, Hank. We'll see what happens.
They're playing the Jets on Thursday night. I don't like the Thursday night game, but we'll see. See how it goes.
The Jets, look, they just won. They have a little confidence. They're going into Indy with a little confidence, right?
I'm hoping there's a little bit of points being scored in this game. We should, let's see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll see some more out of Pitts. He got shut down pretty well after what's his name returned into his new team on defense. I forgot his name. An old Patriot guy.
Gilmore
when he was up against
Gilmore.
That was a tough draw, and he shut him down. So
they did.
Anyway, we got next on deck the Bro Bowl. and the Ampac and the Hams. We got to call that the game of the week right there.
Go Hams.
Game of the week. We got the
Come
Ampac
on, Hams.
coming in. I don't know right now. For some reason, I had that crazy little monkey guy chatting at me. Maybe get a return of the monkey. Remember the
chimp
monkey
mail?
emails, the chimp mails we used to get from Ralph? I'd like to see one this weekend about the Hams.
Monkey mail.
Monkey mail.
I missed monkey mail.
Monkey mail. I know. That's what it just popped into my head for some reason when I was thinking about the Bro Bowl. And
yeah,
we got
that little voice. The so it's this dark, terrible voice. Yeah. Great.
Ralph entertains in his own unique way, and we adore him for it. Mongols at Aliens.
Big game.
Where you go. I don't know. That's that the could the Aliens crawl out of 2-6?
No.
Could the Steel City Mongols crawl out of 2-6?
No, the Mongols
the Mongols are an 86-point favorite at the moment.
The Mongols
86.
The Mongols are an
that
86.
That to me kind of says that Terry just needs to start
86%.
Josh Allen. He doesn't need anyone else.
Well, that's all he has. Other than AJ Brown.
You got Josh Allen against Jacksonville, right? Josh Allen is playing Jacksonville. I don't think he needs anybody else to beat the Aliens this week.
The Mongols win this game. It's a 3-game winning streak. They could be tied for first place in their division at this time next week.
That's right.
Amazing.
No, actually, it'd be a half game back.
Beavers lose to the Lizards. I got to say that's likely. I'll say it. The Lizards are going to beat the Beavers. The Mongols are going to beat the Aliens, and the Mongols are going to be tied for first place with the Beavers. That's what That's what this prognosticator on the webcast says. We'll see how that ages next week.
Okay. You know, we could back that up a little bit.
We'll see how it works on the webcast. I'm not betting on your TFFL team. Are you kidding?
No TFFL betting.
I'm not betting.
I'm the commissioner. Not allowed.
Good.
All right. Next, finally, we have, which is actually probably the real second game of the week. We'll see that the challenge here, obviously, are the Sponge are now without their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. But we got the Sponge at the Killers. And the Killers need a win here to stay at pace with the K-Wheels and, the Ampac in that Pro Bowl. That's an interesting week. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in your division there, Hank.
Yep.
But the Fishermen and the Fishermen are favored 66-34. Although we got to replace a kicker, and by the way, that kicker is now replaced because I can report that there has been a trade in the TFFL. We have the Killers getting Young Ho Koo and a 2023 12th in return, and with the Fats giving Rodrigo Blankenship and a 2023 10th.
I thought Berto was vacationing in Amish country. How is he getting texts?
Yeah,
to make
Berto's
trades?
able to make trades.
How the hell was he getting connection with his?
Hey, the trade could have commenced earlier. It was Mr. Iannuzzi that reported it, not Berto.
All right.
There you go. So I can't.
It was all done via text.
The first ever trade from Amish country. Nice work, Berto.
There you go. Well done, Berto.
We're
So
breaking ground all over.
that's what we got. I'm gonna say the top two games of the week, the most interest are the Bro Bowl and the Sponge Killers are top of the list for me.
Let's go Southern Conference in both those games. Come on. Let's go, Michael and Chief.
There you go. Greatest league in the freaking world.
All right, and that's it for another TFFL webcast. Bill, thank you for joining us, especially on short notice.
So pleased to be able to make everything on short notice, and so always a pleasure to share banter.
Remember those Pinnacle Acoustic sweatshirts?
That's right.
Buy one, get one.
They're eBay. You probably lose money by buying them.
Buy one, get one with code TFFL.
I bought 80 of them, and they're sitting in my attic.
Nice.
Remember to say Stick sent you.
If I'm not mistaken, you get Rakuten cash back too if you buy one.
Oh, absolutely! And I'm creating a Pinnacle Bitcoin too. So.
Oh, sweet. We'll invest in that for sure.
Oh, absolutely! You got it. You know how good I am at business.
Thorny coin.
Thorny coin. I like it.
Beaver coin.
Beaver coin. Beaver coin is a much better marketing ploy.
Nice.
That's a winner.
All right. Good
I
luck.
love it.
Again, they're all big weeks, but they're getting bigger and bigger. We'll see what life is like without Derrick Henry. We'll see what life is like without Aaron Rodgers, at least this week, maybe next week, certainly again in week 13 for the Sponge. We'll see if the Hams can get Patrick Mahomes to turn things around starting this week. Big game in the Bro Bowl against the AMPAC. Rich, you just laid it out. Still several big games. The Aliens, Mongols, big implications for both Bills division and the number 1 overall pick potentially. So, good luck to everybody out there. Take care, and we'll see you back here next week.
Looking forward to it.
Cheers, everyone.
Hola.